What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. We back. Back at it again. We got some updates with Ben Askren. He not on the thumbnail. We got KSI versus Mighty Mouse. We got some wrestlers in trouble. We got some jiu-jitsu people taking breaks. We got a good show planned. Happy Wednesday. We back. You can already hear my video already going in the background. At it again. Yep, we live. Happy Thursday. I'm a little late today, guys. A little tired. Tired and old. I had to sleep in. I was tired. I'm for sure going to sleep in. I love you guys, but I'm going to sleep in a little bit. Get my rest. So yeah, Ben Askren. We'll cover this real fast. And you know, people jump in as they jump in. So this is from Amy Askren. Is that the post? Oh, let's view the post though. So update on Ben Askren. This is from Amy Askren, his wife. I haven't shared an update because Ben has been in limbo for a while, and I was hoping to have him wake up and be the one to decide what to share. I've had some media people contact me that they are going to share an update, and I would rather it come from me. Ben is still on a ventilator and ECMO, ECMO. I'm not a trained medical professional. To support him while he heals. There are good days and bad, but on the good, they have been able to wean his sedation enough for him to open his eyes and squeeze hands. His body can't handle coming off sedation too much yet. I'm still praying for a miracle with his current lungs, but they are currently starting the evaluation process for lung transplant. So that's not good, guys. Please pray for his continued healing, and his transplant is the solution. And if his transplant is the solution, that he can get on the list quickly and easily. I know transplants are such a blessing, and I'm overwhelmed at the thought of him receiving a gift like that. No one would take better care of that gift than Ben. Amy. Ben didn't take care of his health in the first place. I'm not saying that. I'm alleging that he didn't take care of his health. It seemed like he had a staph infection for a while. Didn't get it checked out. I could be wrong, but I know a lot of wrestlers. You know, they too stubborn for their own good. Not to say that he wouldn't learn that lesson, but you know, I wish it didn't get to this point. So this could happen to anybody. Knock on wood. But yeah, hopefully, you know, if he does get the lung, he takes care of it. And you know, man, this is a rough situation, guys. You know, this ain't a joke out here, man. You guys, you know, we went over what to do with staph. You know, there's over-the-counter treatments. There's, you know, tea tree oils. There's a lot of good stuff you guys can be using, cleaning the mats properly, washing properly, making sure everyone's clean, getting checked out early. You know, if you have anything on your skin, get it checked out. Make sure not to spread it. And just taking this seriously because I believe, you know, Ben Askren was doing podcasts and going to conventions and stuff. When that could have been some good time to get early treatment. Thank you for every message and all the support. Despite this awful situation, I'm feeling so blessed by the community we're surrounded by. Give your loved ones a hug today and make sure you've prepared situations like this. Ben is the healthiest guy I know, and I never could have expected this. And, you know, a lot of people look healthy on the outside, but, you know, we don't know what's going on the inside. You know, Kevin Randleman looked super healthy. Was he healthy? Probably not. He looked like Superman. He looked like He-Man. But we don't know what's going on inside people's bodies. You know, that goes for the mental health, physical health, everything. Let's see. We're going to read a couple comments first, and we'll get into Instagram. We know his personal achievements in wrestling and MMA, but what makes Ben Askren truly special, in my opinion, is that he is the best youth coach in the country. I feel like Daniel Cormier might disagree. And his style partly explains, maybe he is the best. And his style partly explains why we have such a tremendous crop of young wrestlers in the pipeline. Going to sticky this update for a little while. Was that an admin? No? Oh, okay. Brutal. This was the worst case scenario some were speculating earlier. Had hoped it wasn't true. Prayers for Ben. Transplants are tough, and it's far from guaranteed that he'll get one in time. Yeah. Not only is the transplantation rough, the surgery is rough. I don't know how they transplant a lung. They stuff it in there and then blow it up. The immune system don't want that lung. The drugs you got to take to suppress your immune system are still rough. So I don't know what the future will hold for Ben Askren. It says the lung transplant is a Hail Mary. They have a relatively high success rate if you get to one, but needing one means you are in bad way. You are in a bad way. Unfortunately, the long-term prognosis is pretty bad. The median survival rate is only 5 years. Ben is young and very strong, so if anyone can beat the odds, it's him. I keep hearing this, but I don't think it's necessarily applicable to Ben's case. Around 75% of lung transplants are related to COPD or ILD. I don't know what that means. I know what COPD is. CF, not sure what that is. And typically the effects of these diseases don't reside just because you have a lung transplant. Most of the recipients also tend to be older, except for CF, where the average age is in their 30s and the median survival is around 10 years. For someone super healthy in their early 40s who doesn't have a disease that will reoccur and manifest, well, staph can reoccur and remanifest after transplant, I don't think 20 plus years would be unreasonable, especially with further developments in the medical field. So even if Ben does get that lung transplant, it seems like 20 years, that's pretty sad, but 20 years is man, that's like, no one knows how long they're going to live for, but to see, okay, you're going to have a maximum of 20 years. That's pretty wild, that's life-changing. That's very life-changing. That will make you change your whole life around if they tell you got 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Wow, that's pretty hard to handle. Anecdotal and sample size of 1, but the only person I know with a double lung transplant, wow, that's amazing, is still thriving 15 years later. The problem is that he would be going into the transplant on ECMO and a ventilator, which complicates matters significantly. It's far easier if the patient is in a stable, less critical state. Unfortunately, 20 plus years is unreasonable. A transplant is an immune-suppressed organ, but unlike a heart or liver, it's exposed to the outside world, the air, so carries a much higher and more frequent risk of infection. I didn't think about that. The lungs, we think about the lungs as just, air pockets, pockets of air, help we breathe, but they are exposed to, a lot of different factors. Whatever's in the air, it goes into your lungs, and there's a lot of crap in this air. So I didn't think about that, so 20 plus years, and that's a lot of work, and man, wow, this is not good news, guys. To be clear, I'm rooting for Ben, and I would be thrilled if he survives. There are just a lot of things stacked against him. If someone is saying he'll need a transplant, he needs to survive long enough on ECMO. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming VV. I don't know what that means either. Or recover enough to get a decannulated, all without having severe complications. Get a donor who is a decent match. Survive surgery and then not get infected. There's a lot of infections in the surgeries, guys. When severely immunosuppressed. So I don't know if he would be able to go back on the mats being immunosuppressed, you know, teaching kids. Them kids be spreading everything. You're going to catch everything working with them kids. And his immune system will be suppressed. Staff ready to jump back into him, you know. So I things don't look good, guys. You know, I'm not a doctor. I'm a professor, professor of jiu-jitsu. But that doesn't sound good. Things in his favor are his prior good health and his size. Too tall and too short means fewer lungs that will fit. Oh. I don't think, let's see. The long-term damage done due to necrosis of his lungs from an infection is arguably on par, if not worse, than the scenarios you've listed. Let's see. Let's see. I'm a transplant nurse, though more so livers and kidneys. If he gets this lung transplant, his days of wrestling are over forever. Oof. So even if he gets that lung transplant, he probably won't be wrestling. He can still coach possibly, I don't know. Maybe not on the mat, sit off the mat. So they're saying his wrestling career will be over. His days of wrestling will be over. And that's terrible news because he just signed with Hulk Hogan's new promotion, RAF, Real American Freestyle. So that's man, things can change fast, Things in your life can change fast, We starting this episode off sad. Well, I rather we gotta educate ourselves. Says forever from the immunosuppression alone. He might be able to coach with a lot of precautions, but as for getting on the mats, he'd die within a year from infection. So, that's man, wow. We're starting this episode off sad, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna educate you guys. I'd rather educate you guys. Some people want to entertain you guys. Jiving, jumping and jiving, saying crazy stuff, wearing crazy stuff, doing crazy things. I'm over here scaring you guys about staff. I'm over here doing God's work over here. But this is important, We're gonna read one more, then I'm gonna jump off of here, bro. I used to run an ICU when we handled ECMO, ECMO, and lung transplants. I'm very happy to have the stress in the rearview mirror. It was a pretty big surgery. I told my son once when he was little that I ranked lung transplants third worst surgery to have, at least from an anesthesia standpoint. The heart has two valves, a left and right. The right works to send low oxygen blood to the lungs to get oxygen, which eventually returns to the left side of the heart. The left sends blood to the body and is our high pressure system. While doing the surgery, the patient is on a cardiopulmonary bypass, meaning blood bypasses the heart and lungs. So a machine is acting to circulate the blood and provides oxygen. A perfusionist spends the whole time just making sure this one thing goes off without a hitch. They are the personification of OCD. Yeah, I want my doctor to have OCD. I don't know if I want my jiu-jitsu coach to have OCD, but I want my doctor to definitely your surgeon, anesthesiast, any of those people, I want them to have OCD. This allows the surgeon to attach the new blood vessels so the heart can send and receive blood to and from the lungs. One of the things that anesthesiologists is most interested in is pressure, and these have some real tricky pressures. Most people think of the lung as a balloon, positive pressure of air being blown in, but it's more like the balloon is being pulled open from the outside, negative pressure. So it wants to collapse. No, so the lungs just want to be collapsed, but the pressure opens it. Negative pressure. In this case, where there's a transplant, In this case, where there's a transplant, it is kind of both. As you go from positive pressure to eventually negative pressure, you have a very thin set of lungs that have collapsed after being removed from the donor. As it turns out, you probably have experience with this. Have you ever tried to inflate a balloon when it's really small and it's hard to do? Yeah, that's hard. Oh no. You gotta blow that little balloon up. But it gets easier as it gets bigger. Well, that isn't an accident. The pressure needed to do that is inversely proportional to the radius, so small is harder than big. However, imagine billions of small balloons with high pressure that just want to collapse into the lower pressure big balloons because they are all connected. It's all super stressful for everyone. Assuming all that goes well and the people doing it are really good at making sure it does go well, then you have a really hard post-op period. The pressures in the blood vessels and the pressures in and around the lungs need to be balanced to be compatible with life. The immune system wants to destroy anything not non-self. So yeah, wow, thanks, body. So you are trying to turn that off enough to not kill the donor lungs, but not so much that the constant onslaught of the world causes diseases. Things like kidneys almost always have trouble as they function on those pressures trying to be balanced. Honestly, writing this up makes me happy I can spend this point in my life just watching wrestling. Dang. One more. My coworker and friend had a lung transplant. Long story short, after the transplant, he lived in assisted living for almost a year to prevent infection. Once he was out and at home, he couldn't even shoot a basketball with his kids in the backyard. His strength and conditioning was gone. It's been about 15 years. He's not the same as far as being athletic, but he's still alive. He was a non-smoker. I'm sure technology has improved, but it's not like a broken leg. Would rather break both femur bones. So man, sad way to start today, but I want you guys to be educated on what's going on. I mean, heck, most of the news ain't good, but you guys watch that, or old people do. Some more bad news from wrestling. We got what's going on with my wrestlers, guys? It's Jordan Williams, who announced on March 29th he was transferring to Iowa, has been charged with 2 misdemeanors stemming from an alleged incident on June 14th. Wasn't that the other day? What's it? Today the 17th? God, dog, it's the 18th. That was 4 days ago. God, dog, bro. The 2 charges are for assault and public intoxication. According to court affidavit, Williams was involved in an altercation with a female. Boys. And was asked to leave by security. Williams allegedly refused to leave and is accused of shoving a bouncer. Additionally, Williams refused a breath test, according to court affidavit. He's all good. Kyle Snyder is still out here wrestling. Well, he's not Kyle Snyder, though. Kyle Snyder, slap on the wrist, even though he had his pants down and singlet out. I'm hoping for the best for this guy. Look at Kyle Snyder and look at Williams. Yo, I didn't want to say it, but yeah, there's some differences. Is Williams a Christian? I don't know. Crazy things happen in Happy Valley. Where's Happy Valley, guys? Upon further review, you are not wrong. Bro is PSU's, Penn State University's, #1 hater, and the post has nothing to do with PSU, and still bring them up. It's a reference of a similar crime. However, one is being spammed, the other is being silenced. So we talked about Braden Davis. He was out there fighting the cops. He was over there wrestling the cops kid from Penn State. And we didn't hear anything about it. No post about it. But over here, they got this Williams kid over here plastered on social media. Where's Braden Davis's post? Where's Kyle Snyder's post? There's actually, it's funny because the jiu-jitsu people were talking about Kyle Snyder. I'm talking about Kyle Snyder. You're right, but this is still a bit pathetic. Comment, do better. Perfect fit for Iowa. Iowa had some history. We might talk about that Iowa history too, though. We might talk a little bit about that Iowa history. Let's see if I can find it. I'm thinking of Ohio State, not Iowa. Surviving Ohio State. We're gonna look at that later. Ooh, there's a Reddit on that? Shoot. We got a good episode coming out, guys. We got a good episode today. We got a good episode. We got a good episode coming up. We be covering some stuff in this show. Who else got a show like me, man? Who else got this long-winded show where they be yapping about jiu-jitsu? I tell you guys, it's out of love, man. It's out of love. Let's see. Dude just can't seem to get it together. What a sad waste of talent. I hope he finds a way to get on the right track regardless of wrestling success. Iowa knew he was like this when they signed him. Iowa fans have no right to try and push this aside. He will fit in right at Iowa. If you're trying to do exceptional things, quit hanging around average people. Says, this ain't news. This is the drama mainstream media BS. NCAA wrestling drama updates. Well, we're covering updates, and then a lot of the updates are negative. People react better to negative news. Good news, positive news, they don't care. This is actually his fourth school. He initially signed with OU, then left for OSU in Arkansas, now Iowa. So he basically the next Ferrari. That Iowa NIL money showing kids with more money than they have ever seen such a bad situation. Basically a spit in the face to all of us hopeful Iowa fans. Somebody with less talent is out there working twice as hard and dreaming of having the opportunity you have. Wake up and find your true potential. This is the same reason he was kicked off the Okie State team. Hope he gets better. They said, does he gamble? So yeah, we're going to see these kids getting in more trouble in the future. Let's move over to IBJJF. There's never any drama with IBJJF. And looks like they're hitting up Japan. They're going to the Asian Championship, Asian Open. So they got Yuki Nakai. We're going to let him talk for a little bit and see what he's got to say. They got music. It says IBJJF Talks Episode 3 is live. We sat down with Japanese legend Yuki Nakai to hear about his martial arts origin and his lifelong mission to grow jiu-jitsu in Japan. Don't miss this one. Maybe we'll check it out. So they got the Asian Championship coming through. You know, your boy did it a long time ago. I need to go back out there. It was a good tournament, though. I got to shout out to IBJJF. You can go compete all around the world, Everywhere in the world you can basically do jiu-jitsu, so that's pretty awesome. So if you guys are in Asia, go compete. Actually, I think it's this weekend.
My name is Muggsy.
Muggsy, I guess. He said he's a famous wrestler. So
I am. Yeah.
I am.
Shout out to Muggsy. One of the most hated guys in wrestling. They got music on the video, but we can't play it. So he's really popular with the youth. Not so much popular with everybody else, though. So I don't know. I consider him an influencer, wrestling, social media influencer. Of course, he got courses. He's trying to sell you. I don't try to sell you guys on anything except for inverted gear and BJJ mental models. So that's the only thing I'm selling you guys on. I ain't asking for no more donations or anything. If you guys want something, go to inverted gear. Go buy some gear for yourself, and I get a little discount. Or you guys get a little discount through my code. I prefer that. Shout out to Nia. Music again. So she's going to be doing Polaris. Did I post the other one? You guys might not know Nia. She's kind of up-and-coming UK grappler. And we'll talk a little bit about this later, but she's going to be replacing Fionn Davies. and she's going to be representing Team Team Europe versus Team America. Should be a good matchups. I feel like Team Europe, they could have gotten better people for Team Europe. Shout out to Margo. I feel like Team America a little too stacked over here. Actually, no, it's a little even. You got Alex on Team America, Helena. What's that girl's name? Taylor. Brienne St. Marie. Yeah, that's a little. They need some. They need a little bit more firepower on Team Europe over there. Even Nia gonna have a tough match with Helena. So we'll see. You know, the girls doing it. I'm all for the girls. I'm all for everybody, except for UFC BJJ. I'm not for UFC BJJ. Shout out to my boy Xavier. He asked me if I liked UFC. I said I don't like Dana White. So take that as you will. Moving on, we got Homeboy over here, Mika. Yo, Mika, why ain't your girl competing? Why didn't your girl compete, bro? Did you taint her somehow? Mika says, I want the 205 belt currently held by Pedro Marino, and I accept his conditions to put my belt on the line too. My 2 titles, 1 fight, winner takes all. So I guess they're paying Mika good. He's kind of, I don't know what he's doing. He's just hanging around, cashing checks. Which he should. He should make money. It's crazy. These guys are so strong, they can just fight. I can't do that stuff no more. You know, I used to be able to fight guys 20, 30, 40 pounds stronger or heavier. Now I'm like, bro, let me stay in my weight class. Actually, let me go down a weight class, you know. These guys too strong nowadays. I don't got the firepower like I used to. I just got the natural testosterone. I ain't on no TRT like some of these dudes. I'm a natural testosterone, guys. But shout out to Mika. He doing it. Honestly, not looking forward to any of these matches. I wasn't really interested in a Janatas match. Give us the Tynan match. I want to see Mika versus Tynan. I don't want to see him versus these other dudes. I'm tired of these matches we don't care about. Why can't they make matches people care about? I want to see Mika versus Tynan. And they need to run it in the gi and in no gi. You know? That's all we asking for. Shout out to Isaac. He won the match versus Keith Krikorian. Shout out to Shaolin. He's over here in New Jersey too. He right across the street from my gym. It says Isaac Dodeline evens the score 1-1 for Musumeci after going to war and earning a unanimous decision over Keith Krikorian. So shout out to Isaac. He don't train no gi. He just started no gi training. Keith says, okay, I'll own that I lost, but calling that a dominant win is insane. Well, welcome to the UFC, where they're going to twist and turn all the facts. We got another post, this little meme about Gordon Ryan. You guys love Gordon Ryan. Let's watch it.
Bottle. No, but I do consider myself somebody that everyone should look up to. Kids should try to pretend that they're Tank. I mean, they should try. Good luck, kids. Right, no, I get you. What's winning without the losers? Feels better when there's a lot of losers around. Was that?
Got the music. I'm gonna turn it off a little bit.
Yeah.
The music, guys. It's got music on it. Man, music, bro. You know I can't play that music, guys. That stuff be hitting me. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't play when it's got the music. Moving on, we've got 2 to 3 weeks to Dagestan. Gable Stevenson plans to visit Sedulayev in Dagestan. No, they're sending my boy Gable Stevenson. So Gable Stevenson lost the NCAA finals, and so they're sending him off to Dagestan. And forget about him. Gable's in a bigger weight class than Sedulayev. So I guess there'll be some good crossover. I think Homeboy, Kyle Snyder went over there. I hope he wasn't partaking in the world's oldest profession over there. Kyle Snyder. It's okay if it's in a different country, just not America. Can we post? Let's see.
Dagestan. Are you Dagestani now?
There's a guy named Abdul Sadalayev. He's a 97-kilogram two-time Olympic champion. He reached out about me coming to Dagestan to help him train for this year's World Championship. So maybe I'll be in Dagestan. They're going to send me Dagestan in 2-3 weeks and forget, but you can't send somebody Dagestan 2-3 weeks who already knows how to wrestle. So I'm going to show up and do my thing.
That's going to be tough, man. I heard they do it. I heard it's rough over there.
But, you know, it's I'm grateful for all my experiences, and it's going to be a good time.
We spoke recently, said you're going to Dagestan.
Yo, why didn't Stevenson do maybe he's taking a break, but why didn't he do the world championship? What's up with everybody? They win Olympic championship, then they're like, screw it, I'm done. You know, Amit over there taking time off, hanging out with their boo. Gable, he went back to collegiate wrestling, but he hasn't been back to international wrestling. So shout out to Gable. Hopefully he does well out there. 2 to 3 years, brother. 2 to 3 years and forget. So it should be good. You know, the thing I like about wrestling is that it's all about the cultural exchange. You know, we saw that with like a lot of the Japanese team members that came down to America. They were hanging out with Penn State. In other places, you know, the Americans will go to Japan, they'll go to Dagestan, they'll go to Mongolia. So I really like that cultural exchange, which is the whole point of the Olympics, guys. Whole point of the Olympics. I would like to see more tournaments doing something like that. I think AIGA does that. IBJJF has a lot of international tournaments. I can't speak for the other organizations, basically. ADCC, they do like different tournaments too. But that cultural exchange is important. You know, you got to get outside of your border, get outside your comfort zone. So for some of you guys, that might mean putting on the gi. Other guys, that might be taking off the gi, trying some judo, trying some wrestling, trying something. Try stuff, guys. We got a little video. That's how you guys be rolling. When they tell you to do absolute, that's what happens over there. Oh, no. Homeboy gassed himself out. How you gas yourself out like that? You were up, bro. If this was freestyle wrestling, he would have teched that dude. That would have been over. That would have been the end of the match, man. At least 4-4-4. 12 points, maybe. So that, to me, that means never give up, guys. Never give up. Keep fighting. Keep fighting to the end. We got Lucas Lepri. You know, I'm a big Lucas Lepri fan. Big fan, you know. Got to spend a lot of time with Lucas. But man, look at this gi, man. Lucas, man. Lucas, man. Oh, Lucas, that gi, man. Show Your Roll. What's going on with Show Your Roll? You know, shout out to Show Your Roll. They've given me a lot of sponsorship over the years. I'm sponsored by Inverted Gear now, but Show Your Rolls definitely helped me out. You know, several trips and, you know, a lot of money over the years, you know, kept me off the streets. Danny says, I fight to the end, but my body doesn't like it. I mean, yeah, you got to be careful. You got to say a little prayer like me before you step out there. But, you know, Show Your Roll, I'm a big fan of Show Your Roll, but, man, this gi and several other gis have me scratching my head. Would you guys be wearing this gi? Where's Rich Homie Quan? I talked to Quan, guys. He said he's working 60 hours a day. 60 hours a week. Which actually, is that a lot? I don't think that's that much, Quan. Anyway, man, this show-year-old gi, I don't know what to say. Is that the Ethiopian, what is our Eritrean tiger or lion? Imperial gi by Show-year-old, looking sharp. Get out of there, Jim McCall. Nobody can say that looks sharp. I don't know, man. I like my panda, my regular panda, my base level panda. But shout out to Lucas Lepri. I wouldn't wear that gi, but you good enough to pull it off, Lucas. You good enough. But listen, some of them gis, Lucas, I don't care how good Lucas is, he still can't pull it off. Some of those gis, you're like, bro. Here's a good video. We got Kevon. I should have put him on the thumbnail.
What is ecological jiu-jitsu? Define it for us.
Come on, I'm bringing this up again, dude. This is like policy.
Maybe I just misunderstood it. There's this new thing in jiu-jitsu that people are talking about called ecological jiu-jitsu. Just something Kevon keeps saying, and it's trending in jiu-jitsu right now.
I'm gonna turn the music off, but I want you to hear that. So, Kevon, he support the ecological. Him and my boy Nelson, they love the ecological jiu-jitsu. So, Mikey, it's bad with Mikey Musumeci coming after you. And then even Jason Off, they got Jason Off on him. Mikey roasting you, bro, I don't know what to say, bro. When Mikey Musumeci roasting you, coming after you, I don't know what else to say. Are they at Mikey's house? They're at they shot at Mikey's house. I see his sister in the background. Yeah, they at Mikey's house. UFC's like, let's save money. We're gonna film at Mikey's house. Danny Chopper says DDP only showing echo work in MMA apparently. For the life of me, nobody can explain what ecological means. Kevon, he does it at his school. Nelson does it a little bit. The girl Alex the first girl that won under Greg Sodders, I coached her too. I don't get any. I'm not put in there anywhere. She couldn't explain what ecological meant either. So yeah. Traditional or ecological. UFC don't know what that means either. I just wanted to show that Mikey jumping on you, bro. DDP does some wild stuff. Which DDP are you talking about? Whenever you say DDP, I think of Diamond Dallas. I know I think I know who you're talking about. It's Mikey, man. He's not exactly a salesman for content. They put Mikey on there as the head. When you're the title person, you got to carry the show. Someone said, go buy a big piece of furniture from IKEA and put it together ecologically. Well, you're never going to put that thing together. You'll soon understand why instruction manuals exist. Yeah, bro, IKEA, that'll have everybody tapping out. That IKEA furniture with no directions. We could argue about that all day, but yeah. Shout out to these guys. They doing it. Here's Mikey. Here's the boys, the eating and training. Jiu-jitsu people might be too nice, guys. Drykas. Yeah, I'm old, bro. I'm a boomer too.
He's a world champion in the gi and jiu-jitsu. Isaac's opponent, Keith Krikorian, is one of the most accomplished no-gi people. He's just been on the circuit so long. I think.
Oh, that's when they were deciding. Mikey didn't get none of the no-gi guys on his team. Who did Mikey get on his team? So wish you guys had released my full dance set. If you want BJJ to be mainstream and exciting to watch, ban guard pulling. Make them wrestle for takedowns. I mean, wrestling barely can be mainstream. Also, after every round, show what the judges' scorecards are so we know who won. They did that at CJI and it was amazing. So you're telling me UFC BJJ didn't take everything from CJI? Yeah, I don't know. They should UFC messing everything up. You got another guy talking about UFC.
Started off with a bang. Andrew Tackett showed why he's the #1 seed. Let's have a look. So really early in the match, Andrew manages to try to attack this front headlock, and Aaron Wilson does a great job of getting out. Now you'll notice this really cool transition. Andrew punches an underhook and uses it to get to a body lock. By basically punching an underhook throw by, locks his hands around the body, and then from here, Aaron tries for a big suplex basically, but runs into the side of the bowl. Andrew lands basically clean in the mount and uses this claw grip on the neck to wrench the head up and hit this pass off right into the rear naked strangle, winning the match and stamping his ticket onto the next round. The first episode of the new UFC BJJ show.
One thing you can say is that all the hate from people like me is helping. I think it's helping the UFC a little bit. You know, maybe. Ooh, we got another matchup coming up this week. Today? Is it today? When does the show come out, guys? I just saw a new post about it. Let's pull it up real fast. I be updating this show real time, man. Real time, I be updating this stuff. So Davis Asari, he's gonna be having a match. You guys know him. He trains at New Wave. He also trains with the Norwegians. He is Norwegian. He's gonna be fighting. Oh man, Jason Nolf. Are they in the same team? Oh, both of them represent. Oh, never mind. They both represent New Wave or Kingsway. Oh, I hate that name, Kingsway. I'm gonna keep saying New Wave. I'm not sure who his match is gonna be. Oh, for some reason I thought he was gonna fight Jason Nolf, but actually he might end up fighting Jason Nolf. So we'll see. Talking about Lucas Lepri. I really want to do a video on him, but it took him 7 years to win a world title. So he won his first year black belt, but then it took 7 years to get back to that point. They got music on here, so I'm not going to cover that, but I just wanted to tell that story. Most people give up after the first time they fail, the second time they fail, the third time they fail, the fourth time they fail, the fifth time they fail, the sixth time they fail. And only a certain crazy few will go 7 times. So let that be a lesson that you guys out there, you might be failing, but if you keep working at it, you might reach a new level. Let's see what your bro Craig Jones got to say.
Who in the 4 women's bracket at the CGI Invitational? Obviously, we got Helena Craver, athlete number 2, Adele Feneria, double gold ADCC champion, fresh off a UFC BJJ victory, claiming the foot of Fionn Davies. Now, that is the highest paid women's division in the history of the sport. As for me, tomorrow I'm heading to Ukraine to see my boys out there and train with them, give the money from the proceeds of this seminar tour. So if you don't hear from me, you know where to find me. But don't worry, if something happens to me, I've set up a trust. And that trust is for idiots that signed a 15 and 15 deal. I'm always thinking of you boys, no matter what.
So Craig says number 2, they got Adele Fornerino, I believe. Helena's in there. I guess it's open weight. they need to put put Gabrielle in there. The thing is, they put Gabrielle in there. I think she's gonna take it. That Brazilian girl, she gonna take everything. She gonna, bro. Helena's good, but bro, Gabrielle go in there, bro. Gabrielle might mess all them girls up because she big, strong, and technical. She can beat Helena. She can beat Adele. She can basically beat any girl in the world. Danny Choppa says the tournament last week was all a learning experience for me. I failed, but it just makes me want to push more. I mean, competing is a skill too. You gotta figure out the rules and the weight cut and just how to prepare yourself, the training, your conditioning, your nerves. It's a process, and every tournament is different. Like you say, you had a hard time at IBJJF, but man, you might win Jiu-Jitsu World League. So there's going to be a lot of variation. Yeah, just got to get back out there, man. We still pushing, and Masters crew. We still pushing out here, man. We kind of talked about this. Polaris, they're going to have, they replace Fionn, so I'll just read what they said here. It says the final lineup is official for Polaris women's squads. Helena Cravar is set to captain the stacked North American squad. I think that should have been Brienne St. Marie should have been heading that. She got more experience. I mean, this girl 18, she ain't got no experience leading. We'll see. So Helena's she's heading the North American team, which now features some new faces. Joining Brianna, Alanis, and Taylor are top-ranking phenoms Alec Enriquez and Liz Mitrovic. Well, Alec's more accomplished than everybody over there. Nogi Worlds. I don't think anybody else won Nogi Worlds at Black Belt. Who are stepping in on short notice to make their Polaris debuts. The European squad has faced a major change as unfortunately their captain, Fionn Davies, suffered an injury and has been forced to withdraw, but she will be replaced by former Polaris title challenger Nia Blackman. Davies will still be in attendance to coach the European squad ahead of this historic event. So shout out to both squads. I support the ladies. I want to see jiu-jitsu thrive for the men, the women, the genderless, whoever, everybody, the cats, the dogs, the rats, the hogs. I want jiu-jitsu to be for everybody. Let's see what we got going on. Some more
about people who have a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Can't play the music. Craig Jones says, honest reviews, guys. Mikey says, thank you for watching, Mr. Jones. Your viewership and feedback are both very important to us at UFC. Thanks. Mikey, shut up, bro. You an independent contractor, bro. Thank you for your... Mikey, you ain't got... Mikey, get out of here, bro. Mikey, you're going to be out of the UFC in about 2 or 3 years, just like one championship. We're going to see Mikey back at Who's Number One or somewhere. whoever going to pay Mikey the most, he's going to be over there. It's the same stuff, though. Weren't you Mr. Die Hard one championship? Mikey said he a company man, but, bro, it's 2025, bro. You need to be looking out for your best interest. Craig Jones says, all good, boss. Let me know if you need any more ideas. All right, Mikey, what's your response to that? Imagine if you sang the song Mr. Jones by... I don't sing that. Mikey says, we were supposed to do this one together, but they didn't give Craig the amount he wanted. I mean, why didn't UFC give Craig the money he wanted? They had $12 million, right? I'm sure you give Craig enough money, he would be there. Why didn't they give it? Why would the UFC? I mean, I know they're a business, but it seems to be that, you put Craig Jones in your business, in your marketing, it's going to blow up. Did they not want UFC to be successful? Like, they didn't want UFC BJJ to be too successful or what? I mean, if they wanted it to be successful, they would have got Craig Jones. Simple. Pretty simple. I mean, I don't understand. I understand the UFC doesn't want someone like Craig Jones because they can't control him. They can control Mikey. Mikey's easy to control. He's an easy person to control. You can just give him money. He's gonna be your company man forever, until he's not. until someone else steals him. But I feel like Craig Jones you can't control. Jason says, I wonder if Fionn is really injured or if the UFC encouraged her to sit out. Might be a little bit of both. They were saying that, we're gonna let her do whatever tournament she wants to. But you know, the UFC has lied lots of times. You know, they lied to Craig Jones's that associate, the Guardian Foundation or whatever. The UFC said they were going to put in a lot of money. They were going to donate a lot of money. Did the photo op and then never gave any money. So I don't put it past them. And for me, I'm seeing that Mikey continuously working with these shady organizations. And I mean, what was the whole point of him working with one championship? I mean, I got it. He makes some money. But he didn't have any good matches. It didn't really, maybe it helped jiu-jitsu a little bit, but I don't think it was a super net positive, really. He could have made that money just from doing seminars. I mean, it would be tough, but seminars and sponsorships, he would have made enough money that way. Mikey says, we were supposed to do this one together, but they didn't give Craig the amount he wanted. Why didn't you petition UFC to get that money to Craig? Mikey has all this power, but he never uses it. Doesn't seem like he uses it. He's always like, well, the UFC decided this, UFC decided that, but he never really pushes back. It doesn't seem like. Doesn't really fight for himself when he needs to. So they wouldn't give Craig the amount of money he wanted. So now I'm just getting roasted by him as a result of that. Well, you should have done everything in your power to make that go through. Or this should have been a red flag that, hey, the UFC BJJ doesn't really want to grow this. I really tried to get him to be with me on this. Would have been so much fun us doing this one together. But hey, Mr. Jones is watching the show at least still. Just not the reasons I would have liked. Mikey, I just don't understand, Mikey. You're like the biggest name in the sport, but like you don't use it. He has a very employee kind of like, I'm just going to listen to Dana. I'm going to listen to the Chowdhury. I'm going to do what they say. And I think he looks up to these guys. He looks up to these guys not knowing that they don't have, they're using him. They don't have his best interest at heart. And I feel like Mikey, this is always going to be an issue with Mikey because, maybe he did have good, good counsel with like people like, the Mendez brothers or Caio Terra or whoever else. But what does Mikey do? He flip-flops. He goes every which way. He never just settles down, So I'm wondering about his like circle. Who's in his inner circle? I mean, I'm sure his family is, but like he's switching teams. He's with Cobrinha one day. He's with Daisy Fresh the next day. He gonna be with Kevon. Kevon gonna be his coach. I mean, he's figuring it out just like everybody else, but. I'm a rant. I'm a rant, guys. Talking about Daisy Fresh, we got the Daisy Fresh lineup. We got Max Hansen, 66 kilograms. You got Dante Leon, 77. Jacob Couch, he ain't canceled yet. He's in 88 kilograms. Michael Pixley, 99, minus 99. Brandon Reed, plus 99. Head coach Pedigo. So they're signed up for CJI too. So shout out to those guys. At least one Jacob's going to be on the show. Not Jacob Rodriguez, but Jacob Couch. I give everybody a hard time, don't I?
Yes. Who is this?
Can't play that music. So again, you guys can check all this stuff out with Alex Windling. She does a lot of stuff through CJI. Someone says, I thought Couch got exposed for DV. You booted J-Rod, but let Couch in on the event. Well, I mean, that's not Craig Jones's, the tournament is his, but the training, the school is, I don't know. I can't defend Craig Jones in this one. I can't defend him. I can't defend. I ain't defending Jacob Couch, Jacob Rodriguez. I ain't defending none of these guys. To be fair, you would take all the Jacobs off Anybody named Jacob, you kick them off the card. That would be the fairest thing to do. Is it the best thing to do? I didn't say that. I said it would be the fairest thing. What's going on here? Got a couple posts. Whatever this is ain't coming up. He's got music. Let's see.
To see it change the whole thing.
Can't play that. Got music. If it's got music, I ain't playing it.
Double leg? Like, what the? Dude, that was fast. Come on.
The strike and people got to see a lot more of that was because, hey, you respect the wrestling, so then you know I have to try to fight with this man. The blatant disregard for that was kind of crazy to me.
You always kept your hands up. You're facing feints, bro. Then all of a sudden the level change came and then boom, you caught him with a few beautiful right hands. Top control. You're literally lateral with him and you're being a blanket.
I wanted to show them because of the blatant disregard for my skill set. Now, the moment they start to respect that, that's when you see me mix it up and you see me start to get guys out of it. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to step back in there. To select few know kind of what I had to battle through the last couple of years just to even build my body back up, just to get back in there. People.
Homeboy need to retire, retire on that high note, just like Khabib did. Talking about high schoolers. I don't think we talked about high schoolers. Talking about old people, let's talk about the young people. We got PJ Duke.
Yeah, so today's my last day and just finishing up like 2 more periods. So it's pretty, I'm excited to move on, but I'm also a little upset to leave these people behind. But I'm not really leaving behind, but just moving to a bigger part of my life. And I'm really excited about that for sure.
When do you head to Penn State, PJ?
I move in June 28th. It's pretty crazy because I don't know why, but New York graduates so late. I don't have my official graduation until June 27th. So I literally move out the day after my graduation.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, East Coast is crazy with that.
It's crazy. I know kids that are graduated a month ago, and I'm still sitting in school. It's terrible. But
do you ever feel bad when you're wrestling a local New York kid, during your regular high school?
That is messed up.
And you're like, come on, this isn't even fair.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when I'm wrestling kids, I don't know why, but some of them just have that look where I feel bad. But others, I just don't really care. I remember one match. So it was the kid and he didn't even know referee's vision, and I was just man, I actually feel really bad for this kid. So I just pinned him right away. But then there's other kids that try to smack me to be in the match, and I'm just yeah, I don't feel bad for this kid at all.
Yeah,
that's so it's mixed. It depends on the kid. It depends on the kid for sure. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, it's kind of how they carry it. It's all right, how are you gonna play this, son?
We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah, it's literally up to them if they're gonna come out and try to. Yeah, so today's my last day, and just
so just so you guys remember, this PJ Duke is the high school kid that beat Yanni at Final X. So pretty crazy to fight a high schooler that's that good, Yeah, so it's pretty rough to fight a kid like that, These kids good, man. I mean, it's no different than fighting, Cole Abate or somebody, Abbott, if he wants to be Brazilian or American that day. It ain't really much different than fighting those guys or Mika or Cade, just there's some good kids out there. Talking about wrestlers, Mark Kerr reveals the split decision that earned him $10,000 and changed Leo Vietta's career. So Mark Kerr, he's old school guy back in the day. Is that the Smashing Machine? Is Mark Kerr the Smashing Machine? I don't think that was him. It was a different guy, right? Maybe it was Mark Kerr. Some moments in combat sports become legendary, not just for athletic feats, but for the decisions that define character. One of those moments happened at the 2000 ADCC Championship when Mark Kerr, a dominant heavyweight wrestler, faced off against the much smaller Leo Vietta in the Absolute division. On a recent episode of the Jackson podcast, he shared, so in ADCC, when you win your weight class, you're invited to the all-round to determine the champs of the champs. Well, anybody can be in there. You don't have to just win. In the all-around, my first match was against Leo, and he's probably 150, 140, somewhere in there, and I'm weighing 250. During the match, Vieta managed to climb onto Kerr's back in his scramble. He ends up climbing on top of me. Pause. So eventually, my arm is in the air and his butt is on my shoulder. There's an opportunity, like a split second, where you watch it for me to just spike him on his head, like literally spike him on his head. That's it. Danny Choppa says, "I'm pretty sure I was in the bullpen with Jacob Couch. He might have been in there." You good, man? You good? He ain't gonna come after you. I hope. So yeah, Mark Kerr wanted to kill Leo Vieta. Thank God he didn't do that. But instead of capitalizing on the moment with a dangerous slam, Kerr paused thanks to his corner. I look over into the corner and I see this going like, "Don't do it, don't do it, don't kill him, Mark Kerr." You know, they didn't test back. They still don't test, so he could have killed him back then. And who was it? It was Rico Rodriguez. So Rico's the guy that slammed Marcelo. But luckily, they kept Leo Vieta alive. And if you watch it, I just bring him back down to the ground. What Kerr didn't know at the time was that the tournament sponsors had set aside $10,000 award for sportsmanship. And his restraint ended up earning him more than just respect. After the tournament was over, it's like, and we're going to give you $10,000 more for your sportsmanship. And I'm like, because I didn't spike him, I'm like, cool, I'll take it. So you know, a lot of the drama with ADCC is that they've been giving us the same $10,000, which was more like $20,000 back then. We'll look at the inflation calculator. Honestly, that fight changed my life forever. For opportunity and mentality. Until that, I was a successful jiu-jitsu player. It was my second or third year as a black belt. But even as this is from Leo Vieta. But even as a young black belt, I was carrying a lot of uncertainty. I was feeling that I was not good enough in the sport. And that's coming from Leo Vieta. So if you guys are doubting yourselves, just remember, a lot of these guys are doubting themselves. They're unsure if they can win. You know, they don't know if they can pull through. So that $10,000 that they got is equivalent to $18,000 today. So yeah, life sucks. Life sucks. That's what I just learned. Let's see if we can find that match though. Can't play the music, guys. Yo, they got that convict. Dun, 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 dun. This is back in the VHS days, guys. So that's Mark Kerr, the big guy, versus Leo Vieta, small guy. You gotta watch a little bit of jiu-jitsu back on the live stream. So yeah, Leo Vieta did 66 and Mark Kerr. Oh, okay, there you go. He wouldn't have killed him. He wouldn't have killed him then. Did he just pick up a single leg? What was that? Let's see. I think he just picked up a single leg. Double leg. He just put him down. Okay, it wasn't as dangerous as I thought it was. So, you know, Leo Vieta didn't do no no-gi back then. None of the Brazilians did. Well, some of them. So, yeah, Kerr just got on the leg and, you know, kind of controlling. Jesus Christ. Just controlling him. Leo's just kind of moving around. You know they had staff back in those days. Danny says, these teens really going to destroy me in a few years. They'll destroy us now. What are you talking about? So Leo was a new black belt at this time, and Mark Kerr was pretty good already. He on that front headlock. Leo Vieta don't know how to get out of there. Trying to sit through, able to pull out, trying to push Mark Kerr. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't do absolutes anymore. Jesus. Yo. Look at that little mat. That little mat right there. I believe this one was in Saudi or UAE somewhere. Probably Abu Dhabi. Referee position. Leo Vieta didn't win this match, guys. There's no way for him to win this match. We didn't have proper no-gi apparel back then. People wearing board shorts from like surfing or the fight shorts, the bad boy fight shorts over there. We didn't have any no-gi apparel. You didn't really have rash guards. You had surfing rash guards, but not for grappling. So the difference is like the stuff is thicker. It's not really for sweating. A little bit of guard work. This is the year 2000, guys. We didn't have that guard technology. We didn't have the passing technology nor the guard technology. Wouldn't be till 2003 where we had some rubber guard technology. We didn't have no octopus guard. We had a little bit of half guard back then. I mean, he just laying on him. It's hard to make grappling interesting. Yeah, I think UFC BJJ. I don't know what to say. He passing through. Leo Vieta, get your guard back. A little bit of guard retention. There we go. Come on, get that guard back, bro. Get that guard back. There we go. Leo just pushing him. Come on, Leo. Not much you can do, bro. 6 minutes to do stuff to this guy. Basically a monster. Mark Kerr just like, don't grab it, don't grab that leg. It's a trap. Leo Vieta doing everything but score. He doing everything but score points. Nah, man, don't complain. Who told you to do that absolute? Nobody told him to do absolute. He's moving around. It's tough, man. It's tough. Moving around. Oh, nice shot by Mark Kerr. Hey. I wish we could have the music on here. I'm sorry. All of that stuff is copyright. All that music. It's kind of cool to see how much grappling has evolved. I believe someone like Mark Kerr would still do well, though. I mean, Leo Vieta was definitely good, and Mark Kerr was good. Nice. That was a good shot. That shot was still that would still take Nicky Rod down. That would still take Kynan down. Those shots would still take Victor Hugo down. I think that was it. Let's look at that flow grappling match, though. The flow grappling thing. Computer's going slow. Whoa, come on. Get out of there. Oh, so he's talked about this story before.
In the year 2000, the mixed martial arts and grappling worlds were the top grapplers in MMA to be held, with Leo Vieira against her was not only undefeated and at 105 kilos.
Can't play the music, guys. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Talking about drama and wrestling. I mean, we got a lot of drama in jiu-jitsu too, but there's a new documentary that just came out. It says Surviving Ohio State, the Scandal in Buckeye Nation. So if you guys got HBO Max or whatever they call it, you guys can check that out. It came out today, yesterday, 17th. Says, for anyone who didn't click, this is about the sexually abusive teen doctor from the 80s and 90s, not anything about recent football teams. Says, what's up with this weirdly high rate of athletic doctors and universities being deviants? So yeah, make sure if you got kids in this sport, make sure you're keeping your eye on them. Says, extremely personal, private access to athletes who are on their own, away from their families for the first time, and don't know enough about the world yet to realize just how messed up what these doctors are doing is. And not for nothing, college athletes are notoriously attractive. Well, he's saying that, not me. That's why I imagine we hear about this happening at universities more than your standard general practitioners or whatever it may be. So I believe it wasn't just the football team, it was the wrestlers too. It says, aside from Michigan, Ohio State, and I guess Penn State scandals, have there been any other cases? MSU had Nassar, who was the World USA Women's Gymnastic abuser. So, a lot of these colleges, we're talking about Penn State a lot, but a lot of these colleges got some dark history. So if you guys want to check that out, you can. I was hoping there was more information on that. Surviving Ohio State. Let's see. Definitely can't play that trailer. They'll get me. For sure. For sure, the trailer will hit me. Had to offload some programs, bro. Computer going slow. It's a little bit before my time, so 80s and 90s. Can we go over this? We're just going to go over it real fast, guys. So this is from Columbus Dispatch. I don't want to subscribe, please. It says a new HBO documentary accuses Ohio State of trying to cover up a now well-known sexual abuse scandal and underpaying survivors with whom the university has settled. The documentary, called Surviving Ohio State, chronicles abuse by Dr. Richard Strauss at the university. After premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival early June, it's airing tomorrow. Produced by George Clooney, the film includes interviews with survivors with sexual abuse by Strauss, who worked at the university from 1978 to 1998. Wow. Who let him be there for 20 years? The documentary also alleges multiple coaches knew about Strauss's abuse, including former Buckeyes wrestling coach Russ Hellickson, and Representative Jim Jordan, who wrestled at the University of Wisconsin and previously served as an Ohio State assistant coach. Both Hellickson and Jordan declined to be interviewed for the documentary. So this is why it's important that we take that safe sport course, so that stuff like this doesn't happen. The abuse scandal first came to light in 2018 after a new complaint was filed with the university, which hired the law firm Perkins Coie to investigate. We express our deep regret and apologies to all who experienced Strauss's abuse, Ohio State spokesman said via email on June 3rd. We are forever grateful to the survivors who participated in the independent investigation, which could not have been completed without their strength and courage. Said once a few students came forward, it was as if they opened the floodgates. Strauss, who died by suicide in 2005, was accused of abusing hundreds of former Ohio State athletes and other students. The State Medical Board of Ohio first became aware of alleged misconduct by Strauss in 96. So, a lot of this stuff, when people are quiet, when you're quiet, you sweep things under the rug, stuff like this festers. But after taking initial steps to gather patient records and take action against Strauss's medical license, the investigation sat inactive for months. It was eventually closed in 2002 with no action ever taken. Says Strauss had never faced abuse accusations, but just a few days before Snyder Hill reported Strauss, another student had done the same. In a disposition obtained by the documentary crew, Grace claimed he might not have known about the other complaints at that point. Grace was stripped of his medical license by the state board in 2021 for failing to report Strauss to the board. The documentary also accuses Ohio State Athletics Department of doing nothing about Strauss despite multiple complaints from a former fencing coach. That's wild. So whenever people talk about the J-Rod situation or the Jacob Couch situation or whoever else situation, if left unchecked, that stuff can go out of control. It can grow out of control and it can take affect a lot of people's lives. Says one person who served as the men's fencing coach from 1978 to 1999 once sent a student with a bleeding ear after practice to see Strauss for treatment. The student reported back to coach that Strauss required a genital exam to treat the bleeding ear. Oh no, according to the documentary. After the incident, the coach reported Strauss to her superiors. She said she was told that the report amounted to rumors and hearsay, and that unless a student came forward, the university would not take action. So if you're in a coaching position, any students come forward to you, you got to report that to the authorities, to the parents. Don't hide that stuff. The documentary also portrays Strauss as an expert on vitamins. Clips of Strauss in the new program Nightline in the documentary show him discussing vitamins used by athletes. So that might have been how he got in there. He might have been running the vitamin. Might have had the vitamins, the vitamin production on lockdown. So, those athletes might have been stuck with them. Some interview subjects suggested that Ohio State might have been reluctant to discipline Strauss if he was providing vitamins to students. Oh, that makes sense now. Who else doing research like this on their live stream, guys? Who else doing research going into these articles like me? You let me know. I don't think anybody will. Well, first off, most jiu-jitsu people can't read. So possibly what he was the vitamin peddler, possibly, allegedly. At least one wrestler in the documentary recalled how Strauss would give them shots of something before major matches. What was he giving you? Vitamin B shots? What was he giving you, bro? What was in that syringe? That explains a lot. Why was this dude around for 20 years? I would have reported him. I would have knocked him out. I would have taken him out. Allegedly, I would have taken him out. It says multiple wrestlers and a referee told filmmakers that Jordan was aware of Strauss's abuse. So Jordan was the state representative. Dan Ritchie, who wrestled at Ohio State from 1988 to 1992, said that Strauss would conduct unnecessary genital exams with ungloved hands. Oh, God, dog. If that ain't a red flag. Multiple wrestlers said Strauss would turn off the lights and use a flashlight to examine their genitals. And some said he would get close He would get so close to them that they could feel his breath on them. Wrestlers told the documentary filmmakers that people had nicknames for Strauss, such as Dr. Funboy and Dr. Jellyfingers. Richie claimed Jordan, an assistant coach at the time, told wrestlers, "If he ever did that to me, I'd snap his neck like a stick of dry balsa wood." Frederick Feeney, a wrestling referee from 1988 to 2024, said that he once was showering after a match and Strauss began to shower right next to him. Feeney, that's a cool name. Feeney said that he saw Strauss begin to begin to do stuff to himself, and when he turned away, Strauss grabbed his butt. Oh no. Why were you still in that shower, bro? I don't care if I was still dirty. I would have jumped out that shower. Feeney told filmmakers that he told both Jordan and Hellickson about the encounter, but Feeney said Jordan shrugged off the incident and said, "It's Strauss, you know what he does." In interview footage with local and national news stations included in the documentary, Jordan denied that he knew about Strauss's sexual abuse. My man, come on, bro. 20 years, you knew. Chairman Jordan never saw or heard of any abuse, and if he had, he would have dealt with it. Come on. Hellickson, who served as the wrestling team's head coach from 1986 to 2006, said in an interview footage from 2018 that he wasn't aware of abuse at the time it occurred. In 2018 interview, Hellickson said he once approached Strauss about how he thought the doctor touched student athletes in a way that was too invasive and too physical. Let's see. Behind closed doors, former athletes and an attorney contend the university has not been as friendly. Ohio State has reached a settlement agreements worth more than combined $60 million with 296 survivors. Let's see what that is for the BAF. 60 mil divided by 296. Approximately $202,000. And, go ahead and pay, taxes and lawyer fee. So let's say $100,000. It says, however, the film states that those settlement amounts have been far lower per survivor when compared with other universities. Ohio State paid out around $250,000 on average to each survivor it has settled with the film states. By comparison, Penn State University paid out roughly $1.5 million per survivor following Jerry Sandusky. And Michigan State University paid out $1.2 million per survivor of Dr. Larry Nassar abuse, according to the film. At the same time, the documentary accuses Ohio State of trying to get lawsuits thrown out of court because of state limitations. So yeah, man, a lot of dirt in athletics in general. Especially the grappling, wrestling, wrestling for sure, the football, all these sports, even in jiu-jitsu, we've read a couple stories where, coaches are messaging 17, 16, 15, 14-year-old girls and boys. And it just, any of this inappropriate behavior or worse behavior, man, we got to make sure this doesn't go on. So, if you guys are running schools, your students, you see anything, please report it. Don't be quiet. You see what happens when people sweep things under the rug. It can become a bigger issue. Not the happiest episode for the live stream, but I want you guys to be educated. I don't want to say I don't want to hear someone say that everybody in jiu-jitsu was quiet, never spoke up about stuff. I'm not perfect, but I will try to say a little bit. We also got in judo too. Don't forget about judo. Kayla Harrison, I guess their judo coach was doing a lot of stuff too. It says Kenta Iwamoto opens up about judo abuse in early martial arts journey. So, he talked a little bit about his experience. In a recent appearance, B Team's Kenta shared deeply personal details about his early days in martial arts. And martial arts for sure, karate, taekwondo, aikido, them coaches be terrible too. Including a disturbing experience, a disturbing period during his judo training in Japan. He was recently Iwamoto Kenta, who has recently earned recognition for his strong showing at events like Craig Jones Invitational Trials, reflected on the challenges he faced as a teenager learning judo. Judo in Japan is tough. I prefer wrestling. Now looking back, because I can use the techniques that we trained at judo, it's good, but at the time I was still a kid. He then shared a troubling experience that stood out from that period, one that clearly left a lasting impact. If you do something bad in school, for example, I was playing cards with my friends, and you're not allowed to do that, and then going back to the dojo, the afternoon training, the coach started just sparring. He'll choke me out. The coach wakes you up and does it again. I've experienced this before, not in Japan, but in America. It happens often. It was used a lot. Well, not now, but back in the day. So, we can't run our schools the same way we used to. I mean, you can still have a tough and good program. You just can't abuse people like you used to be able to. Like the old school coaches could. They could just abuse you. So if you guys looked at the thumbnail, we had Mighty Mouse. He over here grappling with KSI, who's a YouTuber and rapper and entrepreneur. YouTube star KSI recently stepped onto the mats for a grappling round against one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Physically, KSI had the advantage. Known for boxing in the cruiserweight division, he outweighed Johnson by roughly 65 to 70 pounds. But when it comes to skill and experience in grappling, the gap couldn't be any wider. Johnson, who is a living legend, having held world titles in both the UFC and one championship, and after retiring for MMA, he stayed active by focusing on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, even winning an IBJJF Masters World Championship at brown belt. KSI, on the other hand, has never competed in Jiu-Jitsu or MMA and has only fought in boxing matches, though he has dabbled in grappling here and there, including a past training session with Michael Bisping that didn't prepare him much for what happened with Johnson. So let's just check it out.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. Let's go.
I want to look at the Excel.
Okay.
Can we go to the actual clip? There we go. Twitter, don't hit me with copyright like YouTube will.
Okay, here we go.
He put up a wager. He put up a challenge. He was like, I want to see how long. I want to see if I can survive for 1 minute.
Hey, I got music. I'm going to turn the music off, guys. But we'll keep watching.
And not.
So you guys know Mighty Mouse, man. He doing it, man. He doing it, man. Yo, thank God KSI is a good YouTuber because, man, he wasn't going to make it on his looks. I mean, I'm ugly too, but.
Hey, for 1 minute.
So he's got to hold Mighty Mouse down and mount for 1 minute, which ain't going to happen. He already out. Did Mighty Mouse punch him? Wait a second. Did Mighty Mouse punch him in the head? It looked like Mighty Mouse punched him by accident. Look at his left hand. He might have clipped him a little bit. Yo, KSI can't grapple, bro. Got his butt on his face. No, get out of there. My man got abused. He need to sue. He need to sue Mighty Mouse for that abuse right there. You need to sue Mighty Mouse, man. I want to see the comments. I don't want to log in. I don't want to log in. I'm not gonna log in. That was pretty good, man. Mighty Mouse got out of there. Losing my voice, guys. Theon Davies temporarily taking a step back from competing. She's busy. She got her new school. She got Arma. She got her, boyfriend, whatever she's doing. She busy. And you guys got to remember, Theon, she's getting up there in age. Late 20s, 30s. She got other stuff she want to accomplish. She already won ADCC. She already won Worlds. What else is there to do? Says, what an absolutely toxic sport and community jiu-jitsu has going for it. One of today's most influential female and European grapplers is stepping away from competing for an unknown amount of time due to the amount of hate she constantly receives online. We got to do better than this. Let's see. I want to see what that was. I'm cooked, guys. I'm cooked. I told you guys I've been training hard. That's why we started the stream late. We just did a tournament. Can't take no days off. I need a vacation. Every day's a vacation for me, though. So this is from Fionn. Let's see what she has to say. She says, I'm struggling a bit to write this as I don't want to come off as looking for pity or oversharing. But at the same time, I want to be honest. The last few weeks, I've been struggling a lot mentally. I've also been very sensitive. I've always been very sensitive and told to grow a thicker skin. I'm also aware that situations like this bring up past wounds of feeling like an outsider. So I'm definitely taking things harder than I normally would. And not being able to train makes that worse. I've never loved jiu-jitsu more. I've never wanted to quit so much. Seeing comment sections and online threads talking about me is not natural or healthy, but also so difficult to avoid. I'm a strong believer in what's said behind my back is none of my business, but the internet makes it so that that's no longer possible. Going into competition, the fear is no longer if I lose. The solution is easy. Go back to the gym, train, and fix your mistakes. The new overwhelming fear is what will people say about me? How will I be torn apart next? It breaks my heart that the reason I stopped competing could likely be because of this. For now, I'm going to focus on the opening of Arma, her new gym. And I'm so excited to be a coach and grateful I have that to throw myself into. I know many are so good at turning these things out. I know that many are so good at tuning these things out, and I'll be doing the work in therapy to move past this because I'm not a quitter. I just wanted to keep everyone who cares to read this waffle updated. Shout out to Adam Bradley. He says, in person, the fans are great. Unfortunately, the online community is full of toxic, bitter, and salty little men and women. Let's not put a gender on it. People that feel most happy while harassing and putting down those who are out there actually doing something, pointing out every stumble and mistake and judging our character for it. I can only assume it's even worse being a successful female athlete. I've learned that social media is not even close to real life, and the opinions and snarky comments are worthless. It says more about them than it does about you. Keep doing your thing. Alex, she everywhere just like me. We love you, despite all jiu-jitsu banter and noise, which I could be wrong, think has cut deeper within the collective because I feel it too. Being open and authentic about how it's been making you feel is one of the reasons I appreciate you so much in this sport, sending healing and loving energy because we really do look up and love you so much. You don't owe anyone perfection, Fionn. You've always carried yourself in honesty and humility and strength, even when it's been tough. It's heartbreaking that people's words are making you question your place when you've given so much to this sport and inspired so many of us. We couldn't be prouder to have you leading the team, Fionn. You've achieved is nothing short of spectacular. You inspire many and will continue to do so. Most of those critical of you have not done half of what you have accomplished. That's the recurring theme, man. You gotta be. I don't want to say you gotta grow thick skin, but it's difficult. Not everybody's like me and can roast back. Take their beatings and be roasted and roast back. The girls are more sensitive usually. Some of the guys too. So, it's good she's taking a break. If you guys ever it gets too much for you guys, take a break too. Get help if you need it. Yeah, take care of your mental health. She says, someone says, I feel like maybe it's not competing you step back from, but social media. Well, but when you compete, you gotta do the social media game. Like turn off comments. That ain't gonna stop the comments. Block DMs, then pass off your logins and passwords to social media manager. Then you have no idea. There's no way to avoid it, man. There's no way for her to avoid the feedback, the comments. She can do all of this stuff and people will still come up to her and talk about her. They're going to be at the gym talking about her. This is why rich people don't hang around regular people. The internet sucks. Literally every time I open the comments to post or anything, it's just never ending negativity and people criticizing and being mean. Funniest thing is Fionn would strangle probably more than 99% of people. I try to balance this live stream out so it's not all negative. We did start out pretty negative, but I'm also trying to be informative. When we talk about Ben Askren or we're talking about the Ohio State or Michigan State or Penn State, man, don't go to those state schools, guys. You're gonna get abused out there, allegedly. I try to balance it so we hit a lot of different things on this show. It's not just entertainment, it's educational too. Yeah, we'll keep moving on. I got about 20 more minutes, guys. I'm hungry. Some more thoughts on UFC BJJ. We kind of talked a lot about it yesterday. Some of you guys could say I was negative. Well, listen, I don't support Dana White. I don't see how anybody could ever support Dana White. You find me someone that supports Dana White, and I'm gonna roast them. What frustrates me is that there are a lot of high level names in the show, and I don't think they're being given what they're worth. We have multiple ADCC and world medalists that are put on a reality show with a tough style format with a talent level way higher than what we usually see on Tough. With this much talent, there could have been an opportunity to do something that would have been more of a benefit to these athletes and shown more long-term growth for the sport as a whole. UFC, bro. I'm also disappointed in athletes for agreeing to work with the UFC when there's so much knowledge of how terrible the UFC already treats MMA fighters. I did see a few people, I'm not going to name any names, but a lot of people were defending the UFC BJJ. They didn't see any problems with it. They thought it was great. But listen, most of these people don't have a foot in the sport, or they've been wrong about a lot of stuff. Some of the people that were talking about UFC BJJ, they've been wrong about a lot of stuff. They've said and done things where you're like, hey bro, why'd you say that? Why'd you do that? So it's understandable that we don't want Daddy Dana to ruin our sport. We don't think Daddy Dana is going to help our sport. We think he's going to ruin it. And people like Mikey only give credibility to people like Dana White. They give the credibility to the wrong people, the worst people. Between Dana White and Chowdhury, I mean, I don't know who's worse. Mikey, why can't you start your own thing? Mikey could do exactly what Craig Jones did. He could do exactly what Mikey said he wanted to see heel hooks in the gi. Well, Mikey, you got enough power to do stuff like that. I wish I had the power to do that. I wish I had the resources to do that. I'm over here struggle streaming. I wish I could do that stuff. Jason says, after hearing this by Fionn, I have more respect for Gordon's mental toughness. I think he's just not smart, Jason. I think he's mentally tough, but I also think he's not that smart, so it don't affect him. when you got that IQ, when you got an IQ like his, you're gonna be okay. It won't affect you. All he gets is crap posted about him daily. He deserves a lot of that crap though. And he just goes out and crushes people. Yeah, I mean, Gordon Ryan deserves what he's getting. Fionn, what is Fionn? Fionn, you can't compare. Well, the thing with Fionn, she's not doing anything. She just competes, posts about Taylor Swift, living her life. Gordon actively, he out there in the comments. He be fighting people, verbally. He be saying some crazy stuff, doing crazy stuff. He deserves all the stuff he gets. He deserves. Fionn, she over there enjoying Taylor Swift, grappling, living her life. She ain't doing nothing. So I understand what you're saying, but Fionn, she don't deserve nothing like Gordon's getting. Gordon deserves everything he gets. He deserves. I mean, we can go through Gordon's track record. Yeah, I'm not going to defend Gordon Ryan. Jason like to set me off. I respect you, Jason. You can defend Gordon Ryan all you want. You can support him. I'm a big fan of his too. He's one of the greatest no-gi grapplers out there. Says Dana may mess over the fighters, but at the end of the day, the fighters sign with the UFC usually because it's more money. But the thing is, we're seeing that it's going to be a trap. We're telling people that it's a trap to sign with the UFC. So if BJJ guys are signing with UFC, it probably means they're making more money than before. And I mean, money's important. Money's important. But you don't become a high level jiu-jitsu grappler. You don't become a black belt in jiu-jitsu because of money. You didn't get into this sport because of money. You don't get into wrestling because of money. Now, MMA, people get into MMA for money. MMA is a different sport. It's a different brand, different pool of people. And I mean, they get used and abused, bro. Is it really more money though? It's too early to tell, but if the show continues with more seasons, I doubt these athletes would get any more than the average tough contract, which is bad money. Not sure what the pay is, but they're banking on the exposure. Exposure and being on the UFC. Listen, I don't care about exposure. The money's good too. I mean, money, exposure. I don't want to be in a picture with Dana White. Exposure and being on the UFC is equal to potentially more instructional sales and demand for the seminars. It's possible. Same thing could have happened at CJI though. You could have done that with CJI. Your average person won't know what ADCC means, but someone saying they fought in UFC has a lot of clout. Well, they didn't fight in the UFC. They're UFC BJJ. They fought in a bowl. Watch William Tackett's YouTube. He says UFC provides them a stable and consistent income, which is kind of unheard of in BJJ. Yeah, but that's just for 1 year. UFC they could scrap the UFC BJJ next year. 2026, they only said they were investing money in 2025. They didn't say anything about 2026. So it seems like, say you sign with UFC next year, we're going to cut this. We're going to put more money. We're going to put that money back into slap fight. Sorry, guys. They are fighting for the belt. The UFC model is that the scrubs get peanuts, but the champs make decent cash. I don't know, man. But they filmed this over just a few days, and I think the idea of being a UFC Jiu-Jitsu champion, nobody cares, is a cool sounding title. Obviously, they're not going to get rich off this, but I think it's good for them. It's good for the sport, for the UFC to put the money into this. I have to disagree. I feel like this has turned into a scenario where we're getting crumbs thinking it's a slice, when really we deserve the entire cake that they're keeping from us. I think BJJ has grown to the point where we can actually see a substantially larger amount of progress if pro athletes, event organizers, coaches, etc. make the right choices to facilitate that growth. So with the UFC, they're gonna keep you at that base level salary. You know, you're gonna get that 15 and 10 and 10, 15 and 15. I don't think they're really ever gonna bump it up. But with CJI, there was real growth. There's no limit to what you can do with CJI. You got $1 million, bro. UFC ain't ever gonna pay. They don't even pay their superstars $1 million usually. Not outright. You gotta get like pay-per-view points and everything, but they almost never pay $1 million outright for the fighters or champions. The UFC will only limit how far the sport can really grow and only permit the changes that they see fit, taking away power and influence from those who already got the sport to where it is. I'd be surprised if more than 10% of my gym knows who Gordon and Craig are. Jiu-Jitsu guys barely watch professional jiu-jitsu. I mean, Mikey ain't helping. Awful choice of coaches. Mikey is too autistic, and his style of BJJ doesn't appeal to UFC fans. Harrison isn't nearly as accomplished as the competitors, and he can barely speak English. Well, good job, UFC. You did a great job messing up the sport. I like Mikey as a coach, but dang, imagine if they had Gio Martinez, Baby Shark, or Pato instead. I would be more excited with guys like B-Mac, Eddie Bravo, Danaher, Sodders, or some other. Don't throw Sodders in there. Or some other actual coach than high-level competitors. You can't throw Sodders in there. My man Sodders done weasel his way into being. You can't put Sodders with B-Mac. I wouldn't put B-Mac on there. You could put Eddie Bravo and Danaher together, but you can't throw those other guys in there. That ain't right. You can't put B-Mac is pretty good too, but I wouldn't put him on that level. You can't put Sodders on there. He ain't developed nobody. They're copying the tough format where the coaches fight at the end, but it's dumb in this case as Mikey versus the other coach won't be competitive. Well, the other dude ain't done no nogi. He got to learn how to do nogi from the other guys. Yeah, I mean UFC already messed it up. How you mess up the first edition of the show? So we talked about PJ Duke a little bit earlier. That's the high schooler that's beating everybody. He's really good. Super great kid. I mean, he's still in high school. He hasn't graduated high school yet. So it says, is PJ Duke on the path to becoming the GOAT? PJ Duke is at 18 as a true high school senior, has beaten the current NCAA 157 and 149 champs. He's beaten several former NCAA champs. He's beaten a world bronze and silver medalist. He's beaten a world silver medalist who won 4 NCAA titles at one of the hardest weights by pin. There's no other people in the GOAT convo, domestic or international, who has accolades by this age by the age of 18. Even Burroughs and John Smith weren't at this level at his age. I believe Yazdani, I think, was. No, Sidakov was, I think. So I think Sidakov was like really good at 18. Snyder was good too. Shout out to Snyder. Pants down, singlets out. Bro, you think that would be a good t-shirt? Put not a Snyder looking person with the pants down and singlet on. I might need to make that. Hopefully Rudis don't sue me or Snyder. Let's see. The only wrestlers comparable, as far as I know, at 18 are Kale and Snyder. Yeah, Kale Sanderson, and Snyder. Who didn't have the success PJ does at the senior level yet. I believe that this folk season at 157, there's no one that can beat him. Kazak's moving up. Mayer's likely not going to be the same wrestler if he can even return. And only 157s that can compete with PJ are Trelly and Blaze, who are basically at the exact same level. And PJ beat Trelly. Yes, these wins are at freestyle, but he's arguably even better at folk. than he is at freestyle. If PJ wins or even just medals at Worlds, I believe it sets him up to become the American GOAT, perhaps even the GOAT. Yo, these high schoolers are scary, bro. These high schoolers are scary. Potential is there, but we've seen phenoms flame out before. There are so many variables about what could happen in his college career and beyond. I feel like all this Duke hype is failing to appreciate that he nearly lost by tech in the second match against Yanni, in which case the conversation is drastically different. Is anyone questioning if he's the GOAT had he lost both matches to Yanni by tech? Certainly not. The kid is a phenom, but let's go easy on the expectations a bit here. Says it's far too hard to live up to that kind of hype. He will have to be at least 4-time NCAA champ and probably multiple world and Olympic champion. That's a lot to accomplish. Yeah, I don't think he's the GOAT, but he's got a lot of potential. He still has to go out and do it to earn GOAT status. GOAT doesn't just include what you did before age 18. He's clearly incredibly talented, but he's still got to prove before we call him the greatest of all time. Burroughs and Smith get the nod, not because of what they did at 18, but at the longevity of their success. There's a reason we don't say that Kyle Snyder or Henry Cejudo are the best to ever step on the mats, despite what incredible things they have both accomplished at such a young age. Aaron Pico looked like he was going to be the next all-time great when he was just a teenager too, keeping up with and beating college All-Americans and competing on the Olympic ladder at age 18 and 19. And look what happened there. You got Kerry Colat, Marsteller, Dustin Schattler, etc. Talent is there, but it was there for these guys too. So many other things have to happen. So yeah, we'll see. We'll keep our eyes out for PJ Duke. He's got a lot of momentum on his side. So Jason says when participants speak about getting more exposure for seminars, etc., they're just getting more exposure to the academies that they were already exposed to. Who gives more exposure, Dana or Craig? For sure, Craig Jones. Dana White don't care about jiu-jitsu. I mean, overall exposure gonna be Dana White, but I mean, who follows Dana White? More people follow what Craig Jones does on a daily than what Dana White does. Yeah, I mean, in some schools they don't know who Craig Jones is. You know, when you go to Valente Bros, they don't follow Craig Jones, they follow the Gracies. Yeah, I mean, exposure is important. I mean, honestly, I don't think they're gonna get more exposure. They got all the exposure in the world, you know. People like the Tackets, people know who they are. And at a certain point, it's your style, you know. It's the style that you have, and is it compatible with the coaches, the people that run the academies? For instance, like Lucas Lepri, he does a ton of seminars. It's like his style's really good. He's very technical. You know, the Mendez brothers, you know, people want those guys. You know, there's a market for those guys to come through. As far as Americans, I don't think there really are a lot of Americans that do a ton of seminars like that. I'm trying to think who's big on seminar circuits. Craig does well with the seminars. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you wanted to make money with the seminars, hook up with Craig. You know, he could give you all the connections in the world, or do like a seminar series with him. Man, go on the road with Craig. You might be gone for most of the year, but you're gonna make a ton of money. In fact, I think that's how Craig made most of his money initially. You know, when he first came to America, he did like a crazy seminar tour. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but it's a good way to make money. It's an easier way to make money than, you know, sometimes doing these super fights in these tournaments. Yeah, I mean, if you want to get exposure, man, you need to post on social media. You know, post a lot of techniques on social media and build that way. And of course, win. and be somewhat personable, and you can do well. We got a new John Thomas video. We're gonna watch a very basic clip, very short clip. John, don't hit me with no copyright, bro. I'd be upset if John hit me with the copyright. John, get out of here with that.
Countless guard passes and open guard variations in jiu-jitsu, but one position shows up more than any other at the highest level. De La Riva guard, specifically when your opponent is controlling your ankle or pant leg. This grip shows up everywhere, and it is absolutely unavoidable. To ever open the closed guard, at some point you'll need to put a leg in the center, and you're going to expose a grip on your ankle. Whenever you're standing, defending arm bars, triangle chokes, omoplatas almost always involves keeping your elbow and knee tight, but this will often expose your ankle to being gripped. Once your opponent controls your ankle, it's very easy for them to transition into all sorts of different attacks, like barambolos, deep lace De La Riva guard, hybrid spider guard positions, even switching up to single leg guards and wrestling up. That's why understanding this position is critical for both top and bottom players. High level matches are often decided by who wins this battle. In this video, I'm going to show you guys the basic control mechanics and an entire passing system you can easily plug into your game so you're always prepared for this situation when it comes up. In addition,
shout out to John. You guys want to check that out? I think John should have added some music. That's my feedback, John. Add a little bit of music, a little bit of light music, just to help with the pacing. But it was good. Super great. You know, John, I mean, he got way more followers on YouTube than me and Instagram, so I can't give him too much advice. You know, my stuff, I don't know. I'd be struggling to get 20,000 views. If I get 20,000 views, I'm like, well, I guess that's okay. Jason says when to. I think we read that already. Yeah, we already read that. Go check out John's video, guys. Go send him some money too. I don't think my account's set up. Can I buy that? I don't think I'm set up yet. Oh, I gotta add my credit card. Yeah, go send John some money, guys. If you like his work. I mean, you can send me some money too, but let's watch Kit Dale versus Sanji. We're gonna watch this match. I'm gonna speed it up. It's got music in it.
In his world, it's not just jiu-jitsu, and so it's fun to see him, you know, have these other career detours, but then come back in a legendary match like this in his most well-prepared.
I think Kit Dale's younger than
He's
Sanji,
coming in
so
the best he's ever been. So really a fun treat for the fans. Fighting for inside
last match, guys,
here.
and I got to dip. I'm hungry.
Kit has the inside tie with the left hand on the tricep, and you can see him trying to edge that right elbow in, but now Sanji fights back inside with the left hand.
And, you know, Sanji will fool you into think it's wrestling, and then a flying arm lock. I'm serious. Like, he's done it many times. He's, you know, got you busy thinking, I'm wrestling, this guy's wrestling, and then all of a sudden, no, he's not. So
you got to speed it up, guys.
Very, very crafty.
Had a potential slide by there, and Kit was able to turn that into an underhook and kind of telegraphed it. Kind of like we're from Sanji. Take the first few minutes to feel each other out, kind of get a sense for the timing. Here we see a guard pull by Sanji from Sanji Rivero.
But he lets Kit Dale go chest to chest,
like
and that was a big mistake.
Oftentimes it happens with
if you watched
people that are this experienced, especially if
Kendall.
they haven't gone together in years.
All right, Kendall, calm down. If you guys watched, now,
man, seeing
the Giles trials,
this is
you know, Kit Dale's passing looked really good. And he's a big guy. I think he's bigger. He looks bigger than Sanji.
Yeah, the control of
he might be shorter though.
As we mentioned earlier.
So he's pressuring in on that knee shield. Really good. I like how he's posting on the armpit.
Trying to clear Kit's hand in the armpit.
You know, you see guys like Joseph Chin kind of passing like this.
Great control on the wrist there, and Kit, like you said, is trying to push that knee down, maybe force Sanji into half guard. Not an easy task.
Yeah, it just wears you down eventually.
It keeps some space.
I think something I'm kind of realizing, you got to just burn that energy to off balance those guys. Get them out of their pocket. You just don't let them. So now he's kind of driving through. You got to like burn the energy to kind of knock them off balance.
He really lures people into a sense of safety, into pressure.
So he kind of
driving your weight on
definitely like
so great at attacking there.
Yeah.
I forget what that's called, but you know how they kind of lay on you, they kind of sprawl on you.
Into the belly when Kit pressured forward, but Kit's doing a great job, even though there will be a referee's warning here for passivity.
Dang it.
Yeah, and when you have two guys that are in positions they're so well versed in, there's a lot that we can't see that isn't necessarily technical.
So Sanji's working his close guard, a little bit of Sao Paulo pass. That's actually really nice. I really like that pass from Kit Dale. You see how he turns his hip, goes to sit back, boom. That's a really nice pass. And then I like the post on the elbow, the armpit. And just pressuring in on that knee shield. That gets that knee shield either going up or down. And you just kind of meld yourself into that chest-to-chest position. Red. Oh, blue. I think good attacks from here. You got the Choi bar. You know, Mika, my man Mika Galval be on that arm. He'd be attacking that arm. And Mika's so flexible, he can shoot the triangle and everything. But you know, Sanji's a bigger guy. Got the cross post. Kit Dell's just putting weight on him. You know, putting the weight on him.
See a penalty awarded for blue.
Yeah, skip a little bit. A lot of good little small micro movements from Kit Dell. If you guys want to watch it, go ahead and watch it.
I think frustration there.
This I'll be watching your guys' matches. How do you set this up? Let's see. He's controlling the wrist. Goes to the armpit. Arm drag. Nice drag. Oh, that was a nice setup, guys. That was a nice setup. So they're kind of in that underhook position. He goes to the armpit. A nice drag. Nice mat return.
Such a well-timed return, and we see Nicky Rod here in the
I want to see Kit Dell versus Nicky Rod.
Yeah. Right, he's trying to find an angle that we saw earlier.
Ready to pummel that left.
Control the left wrist. Hips over, trying to switch his hips over as he pummels his legs.
So Kit Dale's doing a good job of just driving into that knee shield.
Try to scoop the near side leg. And back for inside position. Big lift from Kid. We have a quick little replay we're going to see at the bottom of the screen of that takedown.
Collar and head tie. Nice underhook. He's strong, man. He's strong. Those elbows too high. Look at those elbows. You see Sanji's elbows too high? He should have been pummeling in. Boom. Another mat return.
Oh, and here we see another back clinch from Kit Dale.
Sanji got good back defense, though.
There, when he holds the body, that's a whole different ballgame. So that's when those clamp guard attacks can.
It's crazy because, you know, Kit Dale, he went for the, that's a nice move there. Got his knee through, past the knee shield. Goes over to the 3/4 mount. So Kit Dale, he did the trials for the Giles trials, but because Lackland Giles only was looking for submissions, he was only looking for submissions. They didn't pick Kit Dale, but I think that was a mistake. I would have had Kit Dale on my team. Nice little kick out here. You see kicks out here. Boom. You see Marcelo Garcia do that kind of passing back in the day. Chest to chest on the side. Again, Sanji has really good back defense, so kind of not really worth it to attack. Blue.
We're going to see a second judge's favor. The first 10, I think significant.
Knee level to move the balance.
So I like how, you know, when he's addressing this knee shield, he's just up on his feet, driving all his weight into that leg. And that really burns the legs out.
To the back, one sort of body lock. And turn it into a pole rather than going.
So now he's kind of, this is how Rosinski kind of passes, where he kind of goes inward, like the folding pass. And he's just wearing those legs out.
If he turns into a knee cut or drives his body forward, now turns you into a better position. But
and now he's got that shoulder post. He can just kind of slide in. Got the Darce. I like this cross grip he's got. I don't know how he's using it. Maybe to defend the. That might be a defense to the octopus guard.
That position quite a bit. Now they kind of back out into the position we continue to see.
That rib post, yeah.
Kid's favorite passing position, and we know here Shanji is so dangerous as well.
He's also using his head.
Lots of omoplatas and triangles.
Not in a smart way, in just a meathead way. You know, using his head to post, control.
That deep right hand is really
presents.
Moving into a folding pass.
And the right hand is really good now. A good position there, yeah.
Tim Planet people call that DM.
Underhooks creep in that deep.
Jason says Kit Dale passing was on point, showing off the nearly 2000, early 2000 Sao Paulo pass. It looks like he got a lot of inspiration from Teddy.
But for someone, if you are going to study these guys or you're interested in
Yeah, really good movement, you know.
We talked a little bit about this earlier, Sean, where he said corner 2:30 left here, Sean. What would you be
What we're seeing now, we kind of, you know, the guards aren't keeping up with the passing, so we're about due for a new innovation in the passing. We're seeing the octopus guard kind of coming back. We're gonna see some more work from the guard and Nogi because the passing is getting so good, but I think the guard's gonna make a resurgence. You know, for so long you had the leg locks. The leg locks, bro, you could just win with easy leg entanglements and leg entries. But now the passing's gotten so good. It's pretty cool to see what the new guard's going to be looking like.
The wrist, get that right foot, hit the bottom foot up to the hip to try to get a little bit of space.
Yeah, skim through. So yeah, definitely a ref decision.
Corner hard.
They kind of stay in the same series where Sanji tries to throw something else at him. Shoots in.
Nice shot by Sanji, but stuffed.
Yeah.
So good decision. You know, we can't argue that decision. Kid Dell did a lot of work. All right, guys, that's it. I'm tired. As always, any news stories, guys, hit me up on social media. You know, that's how I learn this stuff. You know, that's why I be checking my phone. People be sending me new information and stuff like that. And you know, we got our sponsors, Inverted Gear. Can I pull those guys up? Inverted Gear, we got BJJ Mental Models. I'm working on my video for BJJ Mental Models. You know, it's kind of rough, but it's coming through. I don't see anything popping up. Nothing's popping up. We got that stuff coming through, and be on the lookout for the new video. This channel, you know, I've been putting. You guys see, I'm putting the time and energy into this channel. So, you know, I'm not saying donate any money, but let people know about the live stream. I think that it goes a long way. And that's it, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I was a little tired today, so we started late. So I'll try to get back on tomorrow, 10:30. Well, hopefully, God willing. Nothing's guaranteed. We covered a few stories. We covered Ben Askren. Looks like he does need the lung transplant, unfortunately, so we'll see how that works. He might not be able to wrestle or coach wrestling anymore, so that's also possible. We looked at KSI versus Mighty Mouse. KSI, he can't grapple worth anything. Maybe tomorrow we'll look at Janatas versus Mika, because Mika got one of the best guards, and his passing's okay, but his guard's super great. And that's it, man. Hopefully you guys have a great Wednesday. Stay out of trouble. As Kevin Randleman said, wash your ass, stay healthy, stay blessed, guys. Stay blessed. All right, guys, I'm dipping. As soon as I play my Inverted Gear song, you guys know I'm playing it. I'm playing it forever. Oh, I didn't play it. Where is it? Inverted Gear, where are you? There we go. I'll see you guys tomorrow.